Hello, my name is Tahila, and this is the Learn to Let Go podcast, usually with my co host Kathy Nguyen. But today we have my man Zach Caldicott. Zach, could you talk to the people?
Yeah, what's going on? Always a nice introduction from you. I appreciate it, but I'm happy to be here. Let's get it going.
I appreciate that too. And today we have our special guest, all the way in London right now. My brother, my homie, my compadre. This dude is a legend in his own right. My man, El-Tan. El-Tan, tell the
Yo,
people
what's up?
who you is.
Yeah,
What's good, bro? What's
yeah,
good, bro?
man.
How's been your day?
It's been all right, man. From the bat, 10 toes never fold. That saying. It's been a hectic couple of months, but we're still alive, well and breathing. The day's been all right. Been pushing. Just practice music, everything we love, right?
Mhm. Have you found it easier to do that in COVID, or like, is it like a different experience? So for you, it's like nothing different.
So, like, to be honest with you, it's nothing really too much different because prior 2018, I literally felt like I was starting a lockdown for 2 years because I started studying jazz and taking the music production like hours by hours, and locked up in a room just practicing and practicing. So when COVID came, it was like it wasn't really anything that was new to me. I've been doing this. I've been practicing and being in the room producing and making writing. So it's more of a fact of the environment around me just changed. So people kind of, it's like more like a circle. I was locked in my room practicing, and then everything around me was moving and people up and about, and it's more like that change kind of joined my change. So it's not something I'm new to, bro.
Hmm. So you are a producer, a rapper, and a musician, and that's a very
And
rare
musician,
thing these days. So like,
man.
how long have you been doing production for?
So, like you said, man, it's rare, and this is why we're working hard, bro, to show the world that avatars like us exist. You know what I'm saying? I've been producing since I was 9 years old, man. When I discovered FL9, I can't deny that fact. When I discovered Fruity Loops, 2009, so that was just like, man, that was my first love, and I was just like, wow, what is this? I had to get it on my laptop. I had to tell my dad to get it on the laptop. I just said, what is this? So 9 years old, bro.
FL9, dude. FL9 is a classic, dude. Especially like I think,
It's a
what drum
classic,
kit
yeah.
is that? The hip hop drum kit it comes with, the one where like the 808 pack is, dude. That was like my first. That was my first time working with like an actual like DAW drum kit and learning that whole interface. I feel like kids would never understand what like that first experience with FL, like FL9, like back in the day, people used to make music on like 8 tracks and layer them. So you couldn't like digitally just put
Yeah,
different instruments together. It wasn't how it was
yeah, yeah, yeah,
before.
yeah,
So
yeah,
like being able to do that from home, dude, that really changed the game. Cause like music was different 10 years ago.
yeah.
Oh, I was gonna
Totally
say
agree.
like many years ago, I like tried my hand at Logic Pro, and like I couldn't get
Yeah,
the rhythm right. Like I never can get the snare and the
yeah.
drums on time. But I don't know. Do you like? I was always pretty good at sampling. I always had a good ear for what samples would work. Do
Sampling.
you use
Yeah.
samples in your songs?
So I am anti-sample and also sample kind of at the same time. I must tell you why I'm anti-sample, and before I get to that, I want to just add on to his point, um, Taylor's point where he said, it's a fact of, at the end of the day, this is the monster record labels have produced. People were shocked. The 2015 wave that hit 2016, 2015 going up wave, that hit of trap producers coming on the scene, winning Grammys and doing a lot. And they would ask what producing site they were using. For example, people like Metro Booming or Murder Beats, they would ask them what are they using, and they would say FL Studio, and they'll be like, FL Studio, you know what I'm saying? It's because it's all we knew, it's all we could access to. Logic was just too expensive, you know and it was too difficult to crack. Ableton was just forget about Ableton. And Pro Tools was just another one you just had to forget about. But FL was the easiest to crack. And it was the easiest and user friendly interface that is so simple that at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day, if you're touching FL for the first time, guarantee you know how to slightly use it. And now it's the number one producing site. You have producers like Martin Garrix, and FL was slightly more racist to EDM production. Let's be honest. When you open FL Studios, it was mentally made for EDM music, but they've seen the boost in sales that the trap producers have brought them. And now when you open FL, you have plugins like Flex that have 808 drums, distorted drums. They've taken into consideration what these trap producers have brought. And like Zach, if I can remember what your question was, you said, how have I found it easy to keep the timing or sampling? You asked me about sampling.
Yeah,
With
yeah.
with sam
But that's actually,
Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say, do you dabble in sampling?
So yeah, with sampling, the reason why I said I'm anti and I'm pro it, depending on the situation. I'm anti it because I create my own samples. I love the fact of taking it back to the 90s where, you had no other option but to play, like Jimmy Iovine. You had no these producers back then. They had no other option but to play the things real in time. Record with real bass, real electric, real drums, real piano, everything. You know, and I've grown up that way, creating my own melodies, creating my own chords, and creating my own sounds. But the reason why I'd say I'm pro it is when it comes to the culture of hip hop, it's just a respect thing. All the greats have sampled other jazz songs just to just get like Robert Glasgow was explaining the breakdown of how he sampled how Jay Dilla, the greatest sampler uh for me of all time and the greatest. Do you guys know Jay Dilla?
Yeah, I know
Yes.
Jenny Love. May he rest in
Yeah,
peace.
man. R.I.P. Jay, man. That guy was one of the greatest um drum machine geeks out there. And also the start of lo-fi. He's really shifted lo-fi hip hop. The lo-fi, a lot of people love studying to, or they don't even know what it is, but it's people like Jay Dilla that we have to just take off our hats to and give the respect for finding a new way of flipping something. Because there's nothing new under the sun. It says that in Ecclesiastes in the Bible. There's nothing new under the sun, and no one should lie to you and say they've got something new under the sun. So at the end of the day, flipping something and making it new, like the way Dilla would, man, it's beautiful. It's beautiful, and the way Tupac, Biggie would jump on tracks that are sampled, it's beautiful to see a new way that people have done that. So yeah, bro, I feel you on that. You know and some people can't even make that. Some people can't make they can't make. Yeah, so it's not to say, push you to the side, you can't be a producer because you can't. No, man. We there are people like I don't know if you guys have heard of this guy called Frank Dukes.
Nah, nah, I don't believe
I
I've
know
heard of
Frank
him.
Duke. He worked with Kanye.
Yeah. Zach knows, you know what I'm saying. Frank Dukes is one of those people that you might not know him, but your favorite artist does, because he's
Yep.
literally there behind the
Yep.
scenes
Mhm.
producing, making these sample packs for people who can't create their own samples, and you send them to producers and DJs, and they'll make that. Go for it, Taylor. Sorry, man.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I just love hearing you speak, and it's been a minute since we actually spoke. Because you've always
Yeah,
been, to me, you've always been like this musical older brother to me. Like when I see you work, I'm like,
yeah,
okay, let me pick up some of the things he's doing with flow. So like I
yeah,
see what you do with flowing, I see what you do with production. I'm like, cool, I need a
yeah,
situation like this, I need to implement this.
yeah,
But going back on sampling, I think sampling is kind of like life because we also sample
Yeah.
from things we've heard and things we've seen. So for you, when you were growing up, what would you say are the samples that made you the artist you are? What would you say is your story? Like how you, what made you fall in love and know that, okay, screw whatever's going on. This music stuff, this is for me.
Man, the moment I came out the womb, bruh. And I mean it like it may sound stupid, but my
Uh-huh.
dad records me literally learning how to speak. When I learned how to speak, I learned how to rap. You know,
Mm.
I have early days of my dad reminding me of my first ever freestyle when I was 3 years old, and it was me literally just freestyling, saying I want to be like Mr. Bota who stays in the seventh quarter. Of course, the meaning behind was not the
Dang.
greatest, you know.
You were
You know what I'm saying,
you were
right?
saying that at 3 years old. I could barely. My parents told me I could barely talk as a 3 year old. I
You
swear.
know,
Mm.
bruh, it's like I found, and you know, the reason why a lot of people would say, Wemi, how are you able to freestyle or create in your mind? Is because it
Mm.
was the only way I could speak, you know? To be
Mm.
honest, I couldn't write. I never knew how to spell. I struggled with spelling, I struggled with reading, but you know, so I struggled with writing on paper raps to myself. I normally would just freestyle, you know. That's it. That's all I'll do. Just freestyle because I'll write in my mind. And to this day, when I write down a note or write down my bars, when I'm reading them back to myself, this might sound weird. When I'm reading them to myself, when I have my phone up, you
Mm.
know, Taylor, the vibes, you get your phone up and you're recording by the mic.
Mm.
I would I never read the whole sentence. I just read the starting word of the sentence. And my mind already tells me what the whole sentence was. It's just like a guide. It sounds weird. I know it sounds weird. But when I write down my bars or something, I just look at the first word of that sentence and I'll automatically remember where I am and I'll just run through that. I can even close my eyes and run through that and then I'll go to the next line. And so it's just something that has always been around me. It's never been a moment that I've been like, oh, let me do music now. I want to do nah. You know, I started
Uh-huh.
playing for the drums when I started playing for the church. I started playing drums for the church when I was when I was able, when my dad saw that I'm mature enough drum wise. When I was 8, 7 years old, I started playing for the church, you know, and
Mm.
you even know that church, Taylor. You know Chingelo Fusion, and
I
you know
know
how
that.
Chingelo
I
Church
was
goes. And
there.
you'd always find me, man. You always find me on
Mm.
the drums, man, of Fusion. You know what I'm saying? And
You were the man.
it's yeah. And I like the way that you know Tahila and I have Zach. Me and Tahila have a history back at Chingelo, man. I don't know if he's ever told you, the greatest school in Zambia, you know, the wave school, you know, we are literally making waves out here in the world, you know, and very, very, very talented school in terms of production and music and general everything, and Christian school as well. But you know, it's that fact that Tehila has grown so much sound wise that I'm proud of him, man. And you know, I remember when we was like 2 years ago, you sent me a message. You're like, bro, listen to this, and I heard it. I was like, Taylor, man, get a new microphone. And he's not. And one thing I can say about you, bro, is you're not a person that takes offense of when you're not doing the greatest at the moment. He doesn't take offense. You know, it
You
might rub him off inside. Pardon? You can go for it, Zach. Are you adding?
no, being able to take constructive criticism in anything you do in life is so important. Even if you
It's
don't want to
very
hear it, if you're able to take it and you're actually going to utilize the advice that that person gave you, and it's all about how you present it. You know, if you come off like, all right, like
yeah,
this was cool, but if you did this, maybe it would sound better, or this is how you would improve it. Like, I don't try to go, and I think it's good to go with the mindset that like I don't know everything. There are people who have more
yeah,
experience than me that may be able to
yeah,
give me some insight on how to do what I'm doing better. So yeah, I
yeah.
love that.
I love how you said it's the way that you approach it. You know, there's some people that will
Oh
give
my
you
god.
criticism, but they'll give it in such a way that you literally feel like they're trying to say, "Yeah, trying, but you're not gonna be better than me."
Yes,
They literally
exactly.
give it in such a way.
Yeah,
Oh
You're
my
like,
gosh, people do
bro, you're like,
this.
bro,
yeah.
chill. Yeah.
Like
They'll be like,
I've had
they'll be like,
experience where like yeah, like people are like it's almost like passive aggressive. Like they'll like throw
yeah,
you a compliment, but then they'll like on the low kind of like criticize you. And
yeah,
I'm
to
really
show
not
their
about
ground.
that. Like you get more with honey than vinegar. All right. If you're nice to somebody, someone's gonna be
Yeah.
nice to you, and it's gonna encourage them to do better. Like it helps.
Huh.
Nah, bruh. What you're saying, like, bruh, what Zach is saying is 100% true. Like, bro, there's some people that low key is like, yeah, yeah, yeah. He just and you get that a lot in
Yeah.
Africa. Let's be honest.
Oh,
Let's
I
be
don't.
honest. A lot of let me like Taylor. I'm sure you can ride with this. Um, there are a lot of people back home in Zambia that
Mm.
refuse to see that there's someone who's actually so much better than them, but does need like needs that criticism in a way that can just be that gap filling word. You know what I'm saying? But instead of making it a gap filling word, they open the crack more. You know what I'm saying? They
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 they don't
stretch
do
it
it in the
out.
most motivating way, huh?
Yeah, because they make you feel like for example, you could be like, I remember, man, one of the most hardest times of as a guitarist was when I was teaching myself guitar, and I literally said, you know what, I want to learn from the locals. I want to learn some local stuff. So I set up appointment with these local musicians, and I said, guys, can you please let's do it. Let's please teach me. I wanna see how you guys do it. And they're like, oh yeah, no problem. Come over, come over, come over, come over. I came, and man, I was struggling to get those because they didn't. A lot of local people don't know what they're doing. They just they just know it sounds good. They don't know the knowledge behind it. So man,
Mm.
I'm struggling and I'm trying to figure out how they're playing this, and they just laughing at me, struggling. They're just laughing because to them I'm failing to see what they do because it seems so simple because they're just doing it. They don't know what they're doing, but it seems and I'm literally struggling. And I picked up my guitar and I said, I'll be back in a year. When I said I came back in a year, man, to this day, these guys are scared of me when it comes to guitar. You know what I'm saying? Because it hurt,
Mm.
man. It hurt, bro. And I was like, to be honest, bro, this is not how you do it. I literally came to you guys with open, like, please teach me. And but they're like, laughing at me. And I was like, I bet. See you in a year. I'll be back. And to this day, they're asking me how I'm doing things. How you playing that chord? I'm like, bro, you know, it's about
Mm.
connection. And
It's
like I was
awesome
saying
that
about you, yeah, go for it, Zach. Go for
yeah,
it.
no, I'm saying like it's awesome that you took that as motivation. You didn't let that discourage you. You're like, all right, I'll be back in a year. I'm gonna be playing better than
Yeah.
all y'all. I love that.
Yeah,
I
bro. It's
think
like, bruh.
hmm, I think what we need, even as black people, is being able to pass information because we are horrible at that. We don't like
Yeah,
pass
nah.
information to the next man on how to do something. If someone learns how
Yeah,
to fish, they will keep it to themselves and watch you stuff.
yeah.
So I think if we passed more information, I think we'd have a better music scene back home.
We would.
We
And to be honest, it's getting there, but it's still the same thing. And like I said, man, I'm still dealing with people so shocked at what I can do that they failing to accept it, you know? And
That's on them.
like this
you
dude
know what I'm
can't
saying?
possibly be good.
Yeah, you know
That's
what I'm
Like
on
saying? They're
them.
yeah.
failing to accept it. They're like, this guy was born and bred. There's this thing that I was mixing and mastering and I was mixing mastering and producing an album for a band that
Hmm.
is gonna kill the scene back, Shades of Grace. This is a These songs were recorded when I was a kid, and it has passed through music engineers. It's passed through Oliver Mutukuzi's studio, and they struggled to mix and master these songs, and they fell in my hands. And because of God, and it's different when you take it from a different understanding. It's like, people don't understand what the Holy Spirit plays when he plays a role, and
Mm.
I touched these songs once, and they got confused. But everyone was like, "Wow, I heard these mixing and mastering. Where was it mixed and mastered from?" They were expecting to hear America, uh, they're expecting to hear America, South Africa a bit, but London and different places. And then the artist says, "No, it was mixed and mastered by Elton's son, Buemi, back home in Zambia, in Zambia actually." And then their mind is like, "Let's find the problem. Let's find the problem now." It's like, nah, he can't. Nah,
He
this
can't be
can't
this
be real.
good.
It can't be. In Zambia, no, people doing. Nah, it can't be real. No, I think yeah, it was a good mix. Now all of a sudden your ears have changed because you know it's like,
Yeah,
bro, that's it's like,
yeah.
bro, we need to be better communicators, bro. Like,
Mm, I think like as blacks, we fail to see greatness within ourselves. So when we see another black dude doing great, they're all trying to be like, "No, this can't be real." If I have like, let's suppose I've been like a producer in that industry for 20 years and I've never made it outside my city, and I see you doing something I couldn't do, like I'd feel threatened. Like, how can this little boy do something I have failed to do for 20 years?
yeah,
There's this spirit of being envious, not letting other people
yeah,
win.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
have never understood it. It's like to make it back there, it's like you have to be someone's cousin's brother, or just it's just like a weird way of projecting people
Back
towards
to
the
connect.
top back there. It's not like
Yeah.
they don't look for talent. They look for association.
Right. I feel like
Ah,
as a society, like we're all learning,
Mhm.
but we all possess something that we're really good at. So I feel like it's not a bad thing to be able to impart wisdom on people who are trying to learn. We're all learning and we're all teachers to some degree. Like there are things that I'm terrible at, I will probably never really be good at. And so I seek out help from people who know more than me about it, and I learn a little bit more. But then there are things that I may have a little bit more experience and knowledge, and so I'll share that with people. Got it. You guys are right. You gotta build each other up. Like I don't want to
yeah.
be envious of people. I was for a while. I mean, low key, I still am sometimes. But it's
It's
like, all
human,
right,
man.
like
It's
I
human,
want to.
man. It's human.
It's human. Like I want to do cool. So why can't I do it? You know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wait, so like Elton, because like for you, like for me, you're a great artist. I don't know how other people see you. To me, you're
Mm,
great. So how
yeah.
do you deal with not having this what they would call I'm a one attitude? So for the listeners, that means like have an attitude like, nah, I'm the only one who can do something. How do you stop
Yeah.
yourself from becoming the gatekeepers that tried to stop you?
That's a good question, man. How do I stop myself from becoming the gatekeepers that try to stop me? How do I stop myself from being who is trying to stop me? It's the factor of it's this. It's plain field this. Have you ever watched any documentary on like lions and watching the way they move?
I don't
I
believe
haven't.
so.
No.
Like if you have time, just watch a document. There's like they're on YouTube, like where people have specifically followed the lion tribe and
Mhm.
watch them grow through the years. It's this. No matter who, no matter where, no matter when, no matter how rich, big, small you are, you know, at the end of the day, if you watch a lion life, like a lion cycle, you know, it's one great lion after the other. Some massive lion will arise and will be like this, like big man for like 20 years or something, you know. He's protected his pride, he's kept his women, and from nowhere another young bulldog would just come and take everything away, and he has to do nothing but respect and walk away, you know. That's the one thing that people forget about that mighty beast, that it's like continuously competing to keep his women, his tribe, and what he owns, his land, you know, constantly trying to keep that, but being humble enough to surrender it when someone else steps in. No matter how great that lion is, no matter how talented I am, no matter how good I am, I must always remember how I felt in this moment when people would turn the other cheek away from me. And I know for a fact that's how you have people who are great enough to do what Justin Bieber is right now doing as an artist, because Usher took that time back to say, hey, there's a young gun here that is able to take the world by storm. Let me
Yes.
take that step back. And Bieber wouldn't be Bieber if it were, and Bieber has to remember that no matter how famous, no matter how his time is ticking, and he's gonna be in that seat to let go and give someone else, you know. And it's a moment, and to be honest, it's very easy to lose track of that and always want to make sure that, and that's the problem. A lot of people are trying to fence off people that are way over and way that are gonna just eventually, whether they like it or not, take over, you know. And that's the problem, and if you don't remember who you were in that moment when it was your turn trying to take over, and how you'd have loved the process to be as easy as possible, but someone is here making it difficult for you, and when you're in that situation, you are now that person that's making it difficult for someone else who is trying to take that situation and that seat. You're just hurting yourself more than you are, you know.
Yeah.
Look at Quincy Jones, man.
Y-
There's sometimes when you have to just step into the business side of things. Look at Quincy, man.
That man produced
Quincy
Thriller.
Jones. But you see, he's not still trying to be in the studios, trying to be the number one headshot producing. This man is up and about doing what his next level of, sometimes it become it's time for you to become the father figure in some moments, not always trying to be the one that's running around trying to do what the kids are doing. Look at Quincy, man. That man is amazing. He inspires me, bro. Like, it's sometimes that, as a doctor, whether you like it or not, when you're a doctor, eventually one day or the other, you're going to be the one who's going to become the patient, you know. But it's up to you to be a teacher and not always. So, bro, you get what I'm saying, right? It's that factor
Yeah.
of remembering who I was in this moment when I was hungry, and when the next me comes up, it could be my son, it could be some random kid that is just very talented that I discover, and I'm like, nah, bruh, this kid needs to be put on stage. Let me just step back and let him do. Like, look at the weekend, man. You look at Lil Wayne and what he's done, Weezy has done for Nicki and Drake. People are still
Tiger.
gonna give you more respect. Yeah, Tiger. Lil
Yeah.
Wayne is one. Lil Wayne is an OG, bruh, and he's
Yeah.
still making music, but he took that time back and said, hey, there's some real talent here, let me let them loose. And to be honest, man, you never hear Drake say one bad thing about Lil Wayne, because Lil Wayne took that time and let him loose. If Lil
Right.
Wayne was literally chaining him down, just trying to stop, every way that he could become who he want, bruh, Drake would be like, man, screw Lil Wayne. Like what Russ is doing with the labels. Bruh, it's a lot, man.
Right.
It's a lot, but it's that
It
factor.
reminds me, going off what you're saying, I've been a sports fan for more than half my life. It reminds me of when, like, all these older athletes, I'll stick to basketball. They broke so many records, and then you slowly see within the
Yeah.
last 10 to 15 years, these new athletes breaking the records. And all the athletes' records that were broken, they just give them praise. They show them respect and love. So sometimes you got to be like, damn, I was this good then, but there are people who are just maybe better than me, or maybe who are doing it better than I was when I was doing it.
Bruh, couldn't have said it better. Zach couldn't have said it better. It's just the sports scene. You really, because look, Jordan, what's this guy's name? Kobe could have been pissed when LeBron broke his record, but he wasn't. He was on the sidelines cheering him on when he did it. You remember
Right.
when? And then sadly, R.I.P. Kobe, he died.
RP
Was it the
Kobe, yeah.
following weekend, or was it the week? Was it the weekend he died after, or was
I
it the
think it
night
was,
before? No,
honestly,
it
I
was the
think it
night
was a
after.
few days before. It was 2 days before, I think.
Yeah, it should have been the night after or 2 days before. But
Yeah.
you see, he got to witness that. He got to witness that moment, of someone. And to be honest, I think Usain Bolt needs to prepare himself for that moment too. You know, and I don't know if he's prepared himself yet, but whether he likes it or not, it's gonna happen. You know,
Yeah.
you just have to, man. You just have to.
I remember a long time ago. I don't know if you guys remember this. So back in 2012, Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, they headlined Coachella,
Oh
and
yeah, and
they
they did
brought
the
out
the Tupac thing.
yeah, they brought out Kendrick. I think the game was there too, and they like metaphorically like passed the torch to him. They like gave him the microphone. They're like you're up, you're next. I thought that was cool.
Another person who does
I
that well is Will Smith. Another person who does that well is Will Smith. Will is different, man. Will is different.
Yeah,
And that's the beauty of Will Smith, man. He's an OG, man. People respect you more, man. I think it's a factor, and bro. I think it's a problem that that's a, look, that's another problem with Africans. It's the giving up of power. You see, you have Kawunda in office for 20 years. 20 years, bruh. Step back, man. There's no need. You've run out of ideas. You know, just step back, and let someone else. It's even more smoother than you trying to fumble and, you know, uh, produce a very terrible album that people are like, what was he doing? Because you're trying to keep that keep that
J-
revel.
it's
Yeah.
hard because like sometimes it's like I don't either like I don't know when I'm ready. I don't recognize that other people may be able to do it better than me, or like I just don't wanna. So you're right. Like I don't want to step
yeah,
down
man.
and hand the torch to somebody else.
With that being said, I think Eminem should stop. I think Eminem should stop.
Yeah.
He's done enough.
Yeah.
He should stop.
He's yeah.
Did you
All
like
right.
his
Well,
last
Yeah, no.
album?
no.
I,
I want to know if anyone liked this last album.
Nah, no. To be honest, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Eminem, at the end of the day, he had a very, very close call with MGK. It's just we love him, but Eminem was very close. He had a very close call with MGK. He could have fumbled terribly. It's
But
just the fact of Eminem had more fans.
I want to speak on that really quick on that because I was going to mention it, but I'm glad you reminded me. So that beef was really interesting because MGK wrote he made a pretty good diss track, right? You can't really deny that. But
Yeah,
Eminem's diss track proved how great of a rapper he was and he
yeah,
always will be. Like it was a great diss track. The beat was good, every lyric was good, and then that was it. You didn't hear about it again.
yeah. It's
BK
that
wrote him.
factor of when you, yeah.
I just wanna be good, I just wanna feel good. I just wanna be good, I just wanna feel good. I just wanna be good, I just wanna feel good. I just wanna be good, I just wanna feel good.
Girl, I understand your